Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming back for another episode of Grace to All with Paul Gray. And as I told you a week ago, my friend Emma Davis is with us. She was here last week. She is a single mom who experienced most of the things that we hear that single moms go through, with including being homeless, not having jobs, not having insurance, all of those different things. She's in a much different and a much better place now, thanks to help from Inspire 100 ministry that we patterned our Grace Restoration team after. What the Grace Restoration team has been able to do to help her, along with her own initiative of finding out all kinds of resources that are available in the system. That sometimes if you're wondering where you're going to sleep the next night and what you're going to eat, you don't have the opportunity to research those other opportunities and things that are out there. But by the help of Inspire 100 and Grace Restoration team, Emma's been able to have some time and some encouragement to check out those different things, avail herself of them, which she told you about in the last episode. If you didn't hear that, please go back and listen to it. But today, we're going to jump forward to where she's at today, spiritually and relationally, so that you can see the result of someone being helped and someone then taking that help and sort of taking the bull by the horns and by their own initiative, helping themselves, if you will. So welcome back, Emma.
Hi, glad to be back. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here for another time. And I'd like you, if you would, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, which I can tend to do so easily, but I'd like you to, just to tell where you're at spiritually now and how that helps you in your relationships, with other people, and how you got there and what that does to your mindset and being able to work through the different things in your current situation.
Sure, I'd love to. One of the smartest things I did was reach out to and reconnect with you all and, my the New Life in Christ Fellowship and all the different ministries you have, Pure Light Walker and the Grace Restoration team. And I will say that I have never felt more grace anywhere. Just welcome back with open arms, as if I hadn't been away for a long time. And just easily renewed friendships, and it's just been a real blessing to me.
Good.
Our weekly, when COVID hit, we couldn't meet in person anymore. So we started doing the Zoom fellowships. You did. And those weekly Zoom fellowships and the discussions we have are kind of the highlight of my week.
Yeah, mine too.
I love the interaction and the way that we all are welcome to have input. It's not just somebody standing up there and preaching at us. It's an interactive experience, and we all learn from each other. And I just love that.
Me too.
Some of the things I've learned there are who God really is, which is all good, all love, all light to all people, all the time.
A lot of alls there. Yeah.
Yes. Or pure light in whom there is no darkness.
Yeah.
I've learned more and more who I really am, a daughter of God. And I've learned to read the Bible through this lens of being a daughter of a good God. And realizing that anything that seems contrary to just that total goodness, that total omnibenevolence, I think you called it, is either mistranslated, added by someone with an agenda, or just plain wrong.
Yeah.
So I've learned whenever I run across something like that to look it up in other translations, other sources, and find out what the original wording was, because it makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does.
Sometimes they've totally changed the meaning.
And you have a good mindset for that. You're a great researcher, I know, and enjoy doing
you.
that.
I do. I love it. I like to I like to go to the mirror and see what Francois has to say, or the Passion Translation or the Message. I just really like looking at different perspectives.
Good.
And another thing I love about our Zoom fellowship is that we record them all. So if for some reason I can't participate one day, I know I still get to watch it.
Yeah.
Most of the time I go back and watch it a second time, even if I was there. So that's great.
Good. Yeah. Are there some books over the course of time that have been helpful to you?
Yes, absolutely. Your book, Notes from Papa, and The Divine Romance, which is by the authors of the Passion Translation. Both of those, when I read them, they feel like personal notes written for me. So I really enjoy reading those every day. And also the Grace I Ams from your new Grace to All book. Those have been really good to read.
Excuse me for interrupting you. We provide free of charge copies of all of our books, but also our new book, Grace to All the single moms and dads and their families that we help. And so I'm glad that's been helpful to you.
It has. I really appreciated getting a copy of that, and I've enjoyed reading.
Good. And you were about to talk about some other books too.
Yes, The Shack was a real game changer for me. Every time I've read it, I've cried. It just helped me to see God in a totally different way. And also The Shack Revisited, Baxter Kruger's take on that book. The Parable of the Dancing God, and just studying the prodigal son parable in general. Malcolm Smith had a really great teaching on that, and I got so much more out of it than initially, when I used to read it.
Yeah, me too.
The Cure, and some other things from True Faced Resources, like some of their podcasts have been really great. And like I said, the Mirror translation, I just really enjoy that, both the translation parts and his notes.
Yeah, me too. Are there some people online that do emails or posts or things that have been helpful to you?
Absolutely. Some of my favorite emails, of course, I enjoy the ones you send out because it's very relevant to our group and often contains things that people in our group have written, or songs they've done, things like that. Catherine Toon's email, it's usually words of prophecy or visions that she's had, and there have been times when it felt like it was written just for me. So I like that one. I Hear His Whisper from the Passion Translation. And the Richard Rohr CAC emails. Those really speak to me.
Yeah, me too.
And then there's their daily affirmations. It's called My Morning Mantra, which sounds kind of new agey, but it's not. It's just little affirmations about your identity in God. And I read them out loud every day because I find that really lifts my spirit. So, and there's even there's a little breathing exercise at the end of each one where you just like inhale and say something about God, and exhale, same thing. So I mean, they're just all of those things, if I remember to include them in my daily life, really affect my mood.
Good.
And then most of all, I want to, there's the women, most of whom go to our fellowship, but not all, we've formed a group in YouVersion, and we do plans together there. So there's a daily reading and a daily Bible verses that go with the reading, and we all enjoy those. And sometimes they're really good. Sometimes we have to kind of throw out some stuff that isn't so great, that's a little more legalistic than we want.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're really good. But the best thing is that we enjoy the most is reading each other's perspectives on it. We learn so much from each other. We continually learn. And our group is all about blessing and encouraging and uplifting each other.
That's wonderful.
It's just wonderful. Yeah. And that's an everyday thing. Those of us who are local, we try to get together for lunch about once a month, but we also have a couple of sisters from the UK, and somehow we feel just as close to them as we do to each other here in town. So anybody can be included that wants to.
Good.
And I think that's one of the beautiful things about your new book, about Grace to All, is that people can look in there and see where there might be others in their area, or at least in their state, that they can connect with and fellowship with.
Oh yeah, thanks for mentioning that. That's one of the reasons why I put this book together with the compilation of the 90 different people in it, because one of the questions that I and others of us who are doing this get asked often is there anybody who has this understanding of God's unconditional love and grace and the finished work of the cross and mercy that endures forever, that lives within an hour's drive of me? And there certainly may be, but we don't know about, but many times there is somebody. And so I love connecting people with that. And it's just a cool thing that we've done. What else?
I like, there's some teachers that I like to watch online, whether it's YouTube or Facebook Watch or sometimes Facebook Live, but I usually go back and watch those later because I'm a note taker. I love to take notes. And I like being able to pause and write something down, rewind, hear it again when it's really good.
Yeah.
So some of the teachers I really have enjoyed watching are Steve McVeigh, Malcolm Smith, Don Keithley, you, of course, and Mike Popovich from Inspire.
Those guys
100.
are great. Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. So another thing I should tell you about, because I'm trying to apply it in my life, that I've learned from our Zoom group and from teachers like you and Mike Popovich, is the concept of DEEM, DEEM. Let me see if I can say this right. Delightfully expecting effortless manifestation. And, I thought about it, and it just completely flies in the face of what most of us were taught all of our lives. That, I come from a real pull up your own bootstraps kind of background. We're taught that if we want anything in life, we have to work very hard for it. And that sounds great. But what happens when you try as hard as you can, pray as hard as you can, believe as hard as you can, and it doesn't happen? You're trying by your own efforts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I learned from you and from Mike to pray differently, to approach it as something that's already mine, and I'm just ready for it to manifest in my life.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different mindset. I'm not coming from a place of lack. I'm coming from a confidence that I'm God's child and he's already given me everything.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just go to him with gratitude, picturing it already taking place and thanking him. I don't claim to have fully mastered this yet, but I find it fascinating. Yeah. And it really does seem to work in people's lives. So I'm practicing it more and more.
Yeah. So you talk about the DEEM, the acrostic we use, delightfully expecting effortless manifestation. What's some area that specifically that you're doing that with your life right now?
Well, I'm doing it in a couple of different areas. I'm doing it health-wise. I'm picturing myself healthy and fit again,
Mhm.
strong and able to do things.
Good.
And I dream of fully supporting myself by working independently from home. I've decided I don't want to go back to the job world. I want to work independently.
Mhm.
Um, and as we've said, I've started small doing administrative work here and there, but I want to deem this into a full-time thing that
Mm.
fully supports me. Um, I have a great resume. I've got years of experience and training and skills, but I never knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I
Mm.
have a much clearer vision of that now. And I want to make not just a barely living, but a good living,
Mm.
working independently from my own home, keeping my own hours, and having the time and money to do some traveling. That's my dream. I
Ah,
want to places I want to see. Other than that, I mean, my needs are small. Other than that, I simply want to have enough to be able to be generous with others.
wow. Well, that's a great dream, and that's from what I've come to know of our Father, and we are sons and daughters of His. He puts those desires in our heart. Uh,
Yes.
there's an Old Testament scripture that says He gives us the desires of our heart. Well, that has a double meaning. I think He puts those desires in there to begin with. They're His desires for us. And then He gives them to us. They manifest in time and space. And I've just come to know, Emma, as I know you have too, that He just delights in partnering with us. And it's sort of like giving maybe a grade school kid a something for Christmas that's a thing of that allows you to put together microchips and stuff into a board that then turns into a radio transmitter or something like that. He gives us those desires. He gives us the talents and the abilities to do them. He gives us the time to do them. Sometimes we have that extra time not because of something that we wished we had that time, but because of circumstances. But then when we do, He takes those and just as the Apostle Paul wrote in Romans 8:28, he works all things together for the good for the people He loves. And we know that He loves everyone, and His love and grace and inclusion is for everyone. And it's just a wonderful thing, Emma, that you've got that desire, and you have the ability, and through the help of a couple of three organizations, the Heartland Medical Clinic and their subsidiaries, and the Grace Restoration Team, and Inspire 100, and then through the government system and different things that provide. You've researched those and taken advantage of those, and right now you're able to get by with that. But those things they don't last forever. But you've got a vision for being independent, and boy, it's a wonderful vision. How can we help you with that?
Well, pray, obviously. Always welcome that.
Sure.
Praying for me. Um, I don't know. You guys have done so much already and given me such moral support as well as the concrete financial support. So,
Well, we can sure spread the word, and I
yeah,
can do
yeah.
that. I can do that right now. I can tell our listeners and those who are watching the video that, and I mentioned this last time too, but if you need some administrative work, some research, or transcribing things, or Excel spreadsheets, or designing stationery, or different things like that. Emma's really good at that, and I know because she's helped me with that. In my particular system, not system, situation, I knew it was an S word. My particular situation, I was in business for 20 years, and I had secretaries and administrative assistants and things like that. And then for the first 25 5 years probably of being a pastor, I had secretaries and administrative assistants and stuff. But then when different things happened, and with our situation, and with our church no longer having a building, but meeting at different places, and then because of COVID, meeting online, my office is at home, and I don't have a secretary. I can do. I don't have an administrative assistant. I can do some of those things, but what I'm better at and more productive at is writing and teaching and preparing and doing videos and things like that. And so it's really helpful to me when I have somebody that I can call on for a few hours here and there to do things. And I would guess that there are some of our listeners are in a similar situation, or if you're not, you who are listening, maybe you know somebody else who is. And so I would encourage you, again, we're protecting Emma's, and Emma's not her real name, but we're protecting her identity and things here for on this podcast. But if you would like to have that kind of help from someone who's very good at it and who has the time available, let me know. However you get in contact with me, and there are all sorts of different ways to do that. You can do it through Grace to All with Paul Gray at gmail.com. You could do it on my website, www.gracewithpaulgray.com. You can just comment and like something on the YouTube video you're watching or the podcast and say, hey, Paul, contact me at Facebook or whatever, and I'll do it. We'll get together and we'll talk about that. And then you can connect directly with Emma and see if there's a fit there. And I can tell you, certainly from my experience, she's very good and very thorough, and is a very good researcher, and has been a big help to me. And her fees are reasonable. So all of those things, I hope that some of our listeners and watchers will avail themselves of. And we're going to continue, as we do every day with those of us in our group, continue to delightfully expect effortless manifestation of those things coming about. One of the things, Emma, that you and I have learned is that, especially from Mike Popovich and Don Keithley and Stephen Vane and others, is that God gives these desires. He puts them in our heart, and then he loves to give them to us. Sometimes he orchestrates things so that we can partner with him and do our part in doing the research and different things like that. But sometimes when things just don't seem to be happening, it seems like that's when he wants us to trust him the most and not figure out how we're going to make it happen, but just really believe, delightfully expect effortless manifestation that he's going to bring it about. And it's generally better than we could do, and much more. That's the whole thing about grace, much more than we would have expected to begin with. And I don't know if you've had that happen or not, but it seems to happen to me from time to time.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
He's better than anything we can imagine.
No, he is. Well, I sure appreciate you taking the time to do these two interviews and to tell your story. And I would just have to tell our listeners that Emma's a delightful person, and her story is, as we mentioned, everybody has a story. She has sugar-coated it for these two episodes. She's been through the ringer, and I know a lot of our listeners have too. And she's come out the other side of the ringer all pressed and ironed and smelling like clothes that have hung out on a outdoor clothesline, and doing well and on the uptick. And Emma, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so glad to have you is our friend and somebody who's part of our group here, and somebody now who's in a position to be helping other people. So thank you for all of that.
Oh, thank you, Paul. I feel the same way about you guys.
Thanks. I know you do. Well, we're gonna wrap things up again. The ministry that we help single moms and dads and their families with is called the Grace Restoration Team. It's part of our ministry. It's a nonprofit, so all contributions are tax deductible. All the money goes to help single moms and dads and their families in one way or another. We help them financially in ways that Emma has talked about. We help spiritually. We provide our books and things like that, and podcasts and stuff, and our course and other things at no charge. And then we help relationally too, especially through our new book, Grace to All, with the 90 people on it that around the world that are doing what we're doing in different places. We help connect people. So hopefully it's a win-win-win situation. And if you haven't got a copy of the book yet, you can get it at Amazon. It's Grace to All, or you can get it from us. And we'd love to connect with you and love to see how we can partner with you in helping folks both spiritually, financially, and relationally. So again, thanks to Emma. Thanks to all of you for being with us. And I'll see you next time on Grace to All with Paul Gray.